Hey, good morning, y'all. I've got my favorite Southern Belle on here today, and I welcome everybody for coming to another edition of the Practice Squad to Success Show. Welcome, Christy. Welcome, Len. Welcome, Larry. It's good to see you guys here. And Debbie Hampton, our co-host today, she was on before. It was just about a month ago, and there's so much that she has to share. There's some things that I learned about her just recently. So I said, Debbie, you got to come back on again. You have to do this. So I actually watched a replay last night, and I refreshed my mind of. And the thing that I noticed, the biggest thing about it was I really had a really nice haircut back then, but now I don't. Now my hair's all wet, so I got to slick it back. We were just talking about. Anyways, Debbie, welcome. Thank you so much for coming back here today. I really appreciate this.
Thanks, Bob. I feel like I'm in the company of friends.
you are in the company of friends for sure. And like I said, I watched the show last night, our interview that we had, and it's like, oh my God, and then I learned we had your friend and my friend Aaron Matlock was on here just the other day, and then we talked privately a little bit, and then she said it because she's got this big thing coming on called the Brain Summit, and that you are actually going to be part of the Brain Summit. And could you tell us, because we didn't even have, she's going to come back too, because we didn't have enough time for her. But could you tell us a little bit more? What is the Brain Summit?
Well, it's an online event with tons. I think she's got like 20 or more knowledgeable speakers from all across the industry, knowledgeable about the brain, from neuroscientists to, I don't know, all kinds of people. And I mean, I am very honored to be in that group because unlike a lot of the others, I'm one of the people that speaks from experience. My experience is my credentials. I don't have a bunch of letters after my name or any of that, but it's about bettering your brain. It's about depression. And my area of expertise is depression and suicide and daily working with your thoughts to better your brain.
Exactly.
But there are all kinds of experts.
Yeah, that's so cool that you were going to be actually part of it, and I didn't know that until just a couple of days ago. That's really cool. Congratulations on that. I'm very proud of you.
Well, thanks. It's amazing because Aaron and I connected years ago when I was still very brain injured.
Right.
And like you and I were talking, she has seen dramatic change in me and progress over the years.
Exactly. That's what we were just talking about. Because a couple of years ago, I had a show called the Incredible Breakthrough Show, and it was a radio show. And I don't know if I don't think I even mentioned this in our last interview, but we did an interview. And then right before it was going to be aired, because this was taped, it wasn't a live thing. It was right before it was taped. You sent me a message on Facebook and you said, I don't want you to post that because you're embarrassed of how you sounded because your voice was affected after you had the brain injury.
Right.
Now I mean, right now, I just think you had like one of the cutest sounding voices ever. It's like, to me, it's like, wow, I love your voice, but you were so self-conscious about that. And a lot of people think that they're not good enough. Erin talked about that the other day as well, too. She did a TED Talk. And a month before the TED Talk, they asked her to do it. And her first response was, no. I put weight on. I'm not ready for it. So her first response was no, I'm not going to do this. But then the guy said, it's not about you. It's about the people that you're going to be impacting. And so then she said, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do it anyway. So that was a great message. And for you, Debbie, I've seen you like over the years, and I've seen the following that you've got from your blog, The Best Brain Possible. Like, what do you got? Like 50,000 people on your blog right now. I mean, that's huge. People spend years and years and years developing that kind of a following, and well, you have spent years and years.
I have spent years.
But that's you, because those are organic people. Those are people who are actually really following you. This is no marketing.
Right.
Ball. You're just getting, because you put out content like what you wanted to talk about today. You want to talk about how to have a happier brain, how to improve yourself every day, like just to keep moving forward. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, but I want to say, I want to go back to what you were saying about Erin saying that it wasn't about her.
Right.
Okay, in a way, doing things that scare you are about bettering yourself because, and I continually challenge and do things that scare the bejeebies out of me because I know there's personal growth. And when you confront your fears, they don't limit you anymore. And there's freedom always, always on the other side of confronting a fear.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'll be honest, I did think, what would I do if they asked me to do a TED Talk? It would scare me to no end.
You're gonna
But
do it.
I
You know
would
you're gonna do
probably
it.
say yes. And I would use all my mental health tools that I talk about. And it would take every single one of them and probably a Valium.
You know you're gonna do one. You know that. I know you're gonna do one.
Well, hopefully, if I do, I'll be ready. I'm
You
not ready yet.
see that's exactly what Erin said. Her first response was, "I'm not ready yet." No, you're
Right.
ready. We're all more ready than we think that we are. All of us, every one of us here. People I see over here: Lisa, Christy, Len, Happy Hunter, Terry, Chris Shells. Like, we're all ready. We're all. If they called any one of you guys here, you could. You could do it. I know every person there could do it. Everybody would probably say they couldn't at first. Aaron even mentioned we talked before our show. She said one lady, even one person, she didn't say it was a lady, one actually tried to leave the place, trying to run out of the studio before the event. These are all professional
That
speakers.
would be me. That's what I would do.
That's hilarious.
But think about this, Bob. And I remind myself of this when I'm challenged. Challenges don't usually present themselves in our lives unless it's the right time. And it's not a problem unless we label it a problem or a challenge. What if we labeled it an opportunity? And just because something scares us does not mean it's bad. Think about the excitement you have, like when somebody gets married. I mean, fear is not necessarily a bad thing. It
Right.
can be a signal that something is new, something is stimulating, something is challenging, and growth for you.
Growth.
It is whatever you label it in your mind.
Exactly. That's exactly it right there. Whatever meaning you assign to it.
Right.
If it's bad, it's going to be bad. If you think it's going to be good, it's going to be good. So it's up to what we label it, like you said. And you've been doing that for so many years with your putting your blog out the best brain possible. You're always looking at the bright side of things, how you can improve things, how you can always make things better. That's what I really admire about you. And you can't do that without growing. You can't put yourself in a positive state every day, without it affecting you. So when you're looking for that sort of stuff, it just naturally just pulls you right up, doesn't it?
And Bob, what I want people to realize is by doing that repeatedly every day, you actually change your brain by what we talked about earlier, neuroplasticity.
Right.
Neuroplasticity refers to the ability of your brain to rewire itself and change its actual physical form and function based on your experiences, your thoughts, your behaviors, and even thinking changes your brain because it changes which neurons become active and strengthen their connections. Now, just doing it one time is not going to make permanent changes, but consistently changing your point of view to positive, or even like somebody trying to recover from a stroke and doing what's called constraint therapy. If their right hand was limited by the stroke, constrain it and no, I'm sorry, constrain the left hand and only use the right hand. And the brain over time will physically make the connections again. Your brain is a product of what you do in your life. Your life sculpts your brain, even down to your thoughts. And that is the ability that we all have to better our lives.
Yeah, I think you become sort of like the expert in neuroplasticity, at least from what I've seen.
Well, I've got a PhD in life and experience.
But when you do something over and over and over and over every single day, whether you're into marketing, whether you're into like playing an instrument or whatever that is, and you do it over and over and over, and you're doing this, put this blog out, is always talking about how to better your brain. And if you did it like you're doing it, you can't help but not to improve your brain. And like you said, you did it out of necessity.
Well, I received a serious brain injury back in 2007 from a suicide attempt. And I mean, I was seriously impaired. And I did recover a little bit just naturally based on like your brain just recovering and repairing itself. But I plateaued. And then I read a book called The Brain That Changes Itself by Doidge. And he talks about people born with half a brain, people that have had strokes or major damage, and their brains recovered. And I mean, it was not only telling me that it was possible to rehabilitate my brain, it told me exactly how. And so I set about doing the things in the book that it said to recover. And basically, whatever was difficult for me was a flashing neon sign that said, okay, here's where you need to work. If something is hard, that means you need to do it to make your brain more comfortable doing that and make more of those connections.
It's kind of like rehab therapy. If something you hurt a part of your body, when you go to a therapist, they're not. I know Jackson Kelly was talking about the other day because he hurt his knee real bad, and he said it's not. They don't go there to make you feel good. They're there to push it. They want you to stretch that whatever wasn't being used. Because it doesn't take long if you don't use a part of your body where it starts to become like really weak, and you have to continue to push it.
And the same goes with your brain. You have a use it or lose it brain. And the connections that you use more frequently over and over get stronger and maintain. The ones you do not use, you lose. They actually physically disconnect. And the same goes with your thoughts. What you think over and over and over. Your brain wires that way.
Right.
And I mean, if you don't think good stuff, then your brain is going to wire to the negative. And your brain has a natural negativity bias. We're born with that to keep us safe. I mean, your brain is always looking for danger, looking for the bad. I think it's Rick Hansen that says your brain is like Teflon for good and Velcro for bad, meaning that you hang on to stuff that is hurtful, painful, or bad. Because think about it. Okay, when we were going to get eaten by predators, you would survive longer if you remembered where that saber-toothed tiger lived than if you remembered a nice napping spot.
Right.
And that goes right into your theme of gratitude, you've got to look for the good that is in your life
Exactly.
and find the gratitude and really stress and express it.
What would you say to somebody, they didn't necessarily have a brain injury or something like that, but they were conditioned since youth, where they're always told they were no good, that they couldn't do things, that they're always led to believe that they weren't good enough, they couldn't achieve things. How long would you think it would take somebody like that, or what would you recommend? What would you tell a person like that if they wanted to get out of that mode of thinking? What's your advice for that?
Well, I would say it takes as long as it takes. It's different for every person. And I would say that was my problem. I mean, I had depressive, negative thinking patterns and all of that. And life events led my brain to wire in a depressive, reactive mode that led to the suicide attempt. And in rehabilitating my brain and through a good therapist, cognitive behavioral therapy, which scientifically is proven to rewire your brain, I would say over 2 or 3 years, I totally turned myself around. And I mean, I'll be honest, I still sometimes knee-jerk react, but I've learned to build space and pause and step back and say, okay, that's mindfulness. Being aware of your reactions, and rather than acting on initial reaction or knee jerk, I step back and say, okay, that hooked me. What is going on here for me? What's happening? Why is that hooking me? And try to act and live consciously and be aware of what I'm doing and decide who I want to be and how I want to go forward instead of just unconsciously acting. And unconscious action is what led to the suicide attempt.
Man, that's so scary because so many people fall into that trap. They can't. I guess it's like they can't use the expression. They can't see the forest for the trees. They can't see a way out. Everything just seems. I mean, like I don't know. What does it feel like? Does it feel like you're like there is no way out when you're in that state of mind? What does that feel like when you get to that when you get that depressed? What is that like?
Hopeless. Like you're suffocating, you're drowning.
Man.
And I know how skewed this sounds now, but I mean, this is the way I thought then. I really thought the world, my kids, would be better off without me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was that bad for everybody, including myself.
Amazing. Yeah, you wouldn't, well, obviously you wouldn't be here right now sharing your gift with us right now. You wouldn't have 50,000 followers following what you put out there every single day in your blog. So obviously that was not a good way to think, but it brought you to where you are now, to where your message needs to be heard by so many people, and that's what you're doing, and you're doing it. You didn't say, well, I overcame it and I'm just going to sit back and just relax and now everything's good with me. No, you're out there putting your message out there, and that's what I love about you. That's what I adore about you, is that you're out there doing it every single day, putting your message of hope to other people. That's so cool, Debbie. It really is. It's amazing.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Bob. At first, I did it because I was brain injured. And I didn't have the social controls and norms built in again, like that you get from childhood. And I didn't think anything of telling everybody in the world that I tried to commit suicide. I lost my kids, all that. I go back now and read stuff, and I'm like, I told that. It's already out there. But I'll tell you what I realized, Bob, is that I was torturing myself. I was doing it to myself. Yes, horrible things happened in my life, My brother died of a horrible sickness with AIDS, and I took care of him and watched him die for 2 years. I went through an ugly divorce. I mean, we're talking divorce court ugly. After 18 years of marriage to my high school sweetheart. All that really happened. There's no denying that. But I was the one that kept torturing myself with it every day. I was the one bringing it into the present and focusing on that. I had to train my mind to shift, to focus on the good, look for the gratitude, and be my own friend. Tell myself encouraging good thoughts. If I'm not pulling for myself, how can I expect anybody else to?
Exactly. You had to learn to love yourself, didn't you?
Exactly. And oh my God, if I didn't love myself before the brain injury, afterwards, I was as far from perfect as I'd ever been. But you know what? It was okay. I mean, I reached a wall where it was exhausting trying to act like I wasn't brain injured. Like I had no brain problems. And I thought exactly what I just said. If I can't accept myself like this and extend compassion to myself, how can I expect anyone else to? We teach people how to treat us by the way we treat ourselves.
Debbie, I want to ask you a question about that particular episode, because things were bad before the brain injury, which they were obviously were pretty bad in your own mind because you wouldn't have considered suicide, and then being brain damaged, being screwed up, basically. Now things are not better. Things didn't get better. You didn't all of a sudden like win $1 million award or anything like that. This wasn't like love came into your life. You were even more messed up, than you were before. So you would say, "Holy mackerel, this is worse." Now I want to do it again. What was the one thing that turned you around? The one thing that said, "Never anymore. I'm going to go this way." What was that?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Bob. For 6 months, after the brain injury and the suicide attempt, I had a plan to kill myself again.
Did you? Okay.
But I went to Hawaii with my brother. And I think I may have told you this. In Hawaii with him, we went snorkeling. And I was a good swimmer. I mean, I was a lifeguard. I swam competitively in my youth. But I had a near drowning incident because after the brain injury, I was not nearly as coordinated physically. And I kicked off my fin on some rocks under the surface of the water. And the current was strong, and I literally almost drowned. And I spotted a sailboat out in the middle of the bay. And I swam to the sailboat, hung over the side of it, bleeding in my bikini, and yelled, "Help! Help!" And a scruffy man came up on deck and rubbed his eyes like, am I really seeing what I think I'm seeing?
A mermaid.
A bleeding mermaid. And got a little rowboat and rowed me to shore. But after that, it occurred to me, I was still planning to kill myself. Why did I not just slip under the water and finish what I started 6 months earlier? And I thought, something inside of me wants to live. I figured out that my innate essence is life itself. My soul wanted to live. It was my head that was making up all these stories and all this jibber jabber about you're not good enough. Oh, the pain of the past. And my soul essence was life itself. I wanted to live. And from that point on, I started acting like I wanted to live.
Amazing. Amazing. That's I never no, you did not tell me that story before. That is amazing. That is Christian, powerful. Yeah, very, very powerful. Yeah, you have this message has, I mean, you are getting it out there. I mean, I don't know if you're getting this message out there as much yet, but you know, you telling people how to be more mindful inside of your wonderful blog, the best brain possible. But you need to expand and let more people hear your message, because there's so many people, probably mostly women, that go through similar things where they don't feel they're good enough. They need to hear from you what you're doing.
Well, I haven't told much of my personal story recently, but I'm coming out with my memoir in about a month.
Mm-hmm.
And that story and all the things that led up to the suicide attempt and the ways, the thinking process transformation that I underwent is in there. And also all of the mindful physical things. I just got, I don't know if you can see this, but I just got the line edit back Monday for the book, and I've got to make the changes, and then I'll publish it on Amazon.
Awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait for that. And it'll be about a month or so.
Yeah, about a month.
Okay.
Cross your fingers.
When that does get put up there, you got to come back here on the show and talk about that, and
Sure.
we'll help to push that book out there.
And the name of it is Sex, Suicide, and Serotonin. How these things almost killed me and killed me.
Yeah, well, the sex part is what will sell. They say it does anyway. So, but no, that will, I can't wait to read it, and I can't wait to read your memoir when that comes out too, because that's the message that people need to hear. Is that's what's going to help people. What you just said today, what you just told us today, was what people need to hear. That's exactly what people need to hear, because there's millions of if you go on YouTube, there's so many inspirational things. There's so many great books out there, but yet sometimes we just don't. I mean, I'm always putting things in my mind. That's just what I do. But there's so much stuff out there, yet you still get down sometimes. When you get to that point where you were, and if somebody else is there, you could touch them where I wouldn't be able to. You have because you've been there. That's powerful. What you've gone through and what you can share is powerful beyond means. That's going to save lives.
Well, and I hope even now that I'm getting I've gotten some of my frontal lobe function back, and now I'm like getting embarrassed about all the stuff that I put out there. I tell myself, well, if somebody else is feeling this way and they can relate, it's worth a little embarrassment on my part. I mean, we're all human, and we're more alike than we know. So let's quit trying to make divides and act like we're all different or that we're better than anybody else. We're all in this together. And like I said, we're probably all more alike and have more in common with feelings like this than not. And there's no reason anybody needs to be embarrassed, and there's no reason anybody can't reach out for help.
Amazing. That's such a powerful story. It's just amazing. I applaud you, Debbie, for everything. When I say those things to you, like even in the private messages, I said, I'm just like, you are just like the ultimate warrior to me. You are, because you've been down before. You said, the hell with this, I'm doing it. And you do it every single day. You're out there just bam, just put your putting yourself out there. You know, it's so cool. Now we're almost out of time. Is there anything that you want to? Boy, the time goes by so fast when you get a guest like you. Is there anything that you want to share? Any like final words that you want to share today, or ways when then we'll say how people can get a hold of you?
Well, my final message I want to leave people with is that your life and your brain are a product of your thoughts. Work with bettering your thoughts, and you better your brain and your life. And you can reach me at thebestbrainpossible.com is my website, or send me an email at bestbrainpossible.com. I'm sorry, bestbrainpossible@gmail.com.
Oh, is it best or the best?
Best, no the.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I think
my website is
I think both get you there.
My website is my Gmail is just Best Brain.
I think they both get you there if you typed it in, but I just typed it in bestbrainpossible.com. So check that out.
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah, that works. And so you will come back when your book comes out, when it gets published, whatever that would be, whatever time, just let me know. And then
definitely.
Meantime, I'm always sharing your blogs when they come out there. Not all of them all the time because we get busy. But when I see a good one come up in my news feed, bing, I'm sharing it all the time. So again,
I so appreciate your support.
No, it's Len just said that it didn't work. Best Brain Possible didn't work. Well, we'll just keep playing around with it. It'll just go to best or try the best.
The website is the Best Brain
Possible. The website is the best. Okay.
My Gmail is Best Brain.
When I put this replay out, I will write that in there so people won't be able to get that wrong. Thanks, Len. I appreciate you saying it. Great. Okay, Debbie, thank you so much. Hey, before I go, I know Happy Hunter Terry she's got her her Paul Santisi Angel show on tonight. It's on Blog Talk Radio. Go find her. It's on Angel Speakers, but go find Terry Hunter. She's got her, Debbie Garcia, and Shante Hockless. All three of them have been on the show before, and they'll be back on again. But it's a Blog Talk Radio show, and they use the whole Charlie's Angels theme, where Paul Santisi comes on and he talks about the three angels, and it's a pretty cool show. But people call in, the women, not just women. I call in sometimes. Len's even called in, and they just talk about things. So they just talk about things. So it's a really fun show. So check that out. Go look up Terry Miller, the Happy Hunter Terry Miller, and check that show tonight. It's on 10 o'clock. I think it's 10 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Pacific time. So anyways, thank you everybody. Thank you so much today, Aaron. We'll talk to you when you come back next time.
Oh, I look forward to it, Bob.
I mean, Debbie, I called you Aaron. I mean, that's why.
It's okay.
I'm thinking Aaron Matlock because you're going to be at Aaron Matlock's Brain Summit. When does that happen? When does that thing happen, the Brain Summit?
Oh, I'm not even sure.
It's coming up, though. I know it's coming up. She's going to come back on and talk about it. Well, okay, thanks so much, Debbie. I really appreciate you. Thank everybody for coming today. It's been a great show. So we'll talk to you a little bit later.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Bye.
Bye for now.